I see mostly familiar names and faces. However, if you are new, welcome. I'm Sarah. And if you are a regular or have been here just a few times before, thank you so much for joining me again this morning. And starting off in our comfortable seated or any initial position that you'd like to, I'll just start, like I said, with that initial scan of the body. So taking a couple of moments, just starting from the top of the head and moving down to the tips of the toes. And as you take that scan, that's without any judgment. So just noticing how you're feeling, noticing where you're at as we get going today. Maybe taking those couple of initial nice deep breaths, kind of feel the air flowing in and out of the lungs. And then as you take that scan, noticing any places of tension, any spaces that could use a little bit of extra leeway or a little bit of extra love in your practice today. And any of those spaces also that are feeling particularly good and use a little bit of an extra challenge in our practice today. From there, I invite you to take any initial range of motion that may feel good. So like I mentioned, if you're maybe at hands and knees or in child's pose, maybe you can do a cat and cow or a child's pose to cobra. If you're in that comfortable seated position, maybe it's a spinal twist, maybe it's a lateral stretch, maybe it's a roll of the shoulders or the head and the neck. Just kind of taking that those results of the scan of your body and starting off your practice this morning on the right foot, starting off your practice this morning in the way that best suits you. Taking about 4 or 5 more nice deep breaths in that initial range of motion, whatever it may be. And taking about 2 more nice deep breaths here. And then when you finish those last 2, just bring it back to center. If you were at that hands and knees or any of those other positions, we're just going to start with our couple of initial, same as always, range of motions. So ranges of motion, there we go. So if you prefer to do those from hands and knees, something a little different, I invite you to kind of make this part your own if you'd like to. We are going to start off here with just a roll of the shoulders though. So finding that nice long spine and then just starting to make those nice big shoulder circles. Either direction is fabulous to get started in. So pulling them up towards the ears and then maybe down and back or down into the front. Nice big circles just to get us moving, get the shoulders a little bit loosened up today. Get them ready to support us in our couple of downward facing dog movements. Go ahead and change that direction here, same other way, a couple of nice big circles. One more nice big circle in that second direction, and then releasing those shoulders nice and low away from the ears. We'll go into our lateral stretch up next. So that first big inhale takes the arms out and up. I want you to take just a moment right at the top, then stretch super long away from center. Nice big stretch fingertips towards the ceiling. One more big inhale here. And then with that next exhale, go ahead and take that right hand, bring it down towards the mat. Left arm comes up over top. As always, just the hand can come down. Or if you'd like to take it a little deeper, you can take that elbow down towards the mat. And then from here, I want to invite you to flow at your own pace. Those inhales pulling you through center, nice big stretch. The exhales pulling you in either direction. So just kind of making your way side to side. If you need a little bit of an extra hold in either direction, feel free to find it. If you prefer to start your practice by just getting moving and grooving and ready to go, feel free to also move a little bit faster. Take just a couple breaths here. And let's go one more time in each direction. As always, feel free to hit that third change of direction if you need to even out and hit that second side, that left hand down one final time. When you finish that out, we're gonna go right into our spinal twist. So as always, if you're someone who likes to take the arms up as you come along through center, you can go right into it. Or if you're not, you can circle them down and around. Inhale finds our long spine. Exhale turns the torso towards that first side. Opposite side hand comes around to the outside of the leg. Same side hand comes around behind the back. And then same as our lateral stretches, let's just go ahead and get moving at the pace that works best for you. So inhale, you can leave those arms low or bring them high as we come through center. And exhale can bring us in that other direction. Once again, if you need a little bit of a hold in one direction or the other, feel free. If you like to move a little faster or maybe put a little pressure into the knees or the fingertips on the floor, feel free. Taking those couple nice deep breaths here, getting our spine ready to. Fabulous. Once again, finding one more time in each direction. Feel free to find that third change of direction if you need to even up and hit your second side one final time. When you finish that out, just bringing the spine back to center. If you like to bring the arms up high, just circling them down and around. And if you keep the arms low, just relaxing those shoulders nice and low away from the ears. Alrighty, up next, we're gonna do just a little brief lower body stretch. I'm gonna keep my right leg folded in. I'm gonna take my left leg out long. If you point the toes up towards the ceiling a little more, you'll feel it more through the calf. If you keep them a little bit more relaxed, excuse me, you might feel it a little bit more through the total leg. We're just gonna fold it forward. So fingertips coming down towards the ankle, towards the shin, towards the toes, finding that nice stretch through that left leg. Maybe you can allow the lower back to relax and release a little bit. Find that stretch through the shoulders. Maybe it feels better to keep that little bit of tension and find that stretch through the leg, depending on where your points of tension are and where it feels better. Fabulous. And then we're just going to switch sides. So inhaling to come up to that spine, switching those legs. Same thing, we're folding the left leg in, taking the right leg out long, and then folding it forward, fingertips towards the shin, towards the ankle, towards the toes. Maybe you find that release of the lower back and find your stretch all the way up the posterior chain, the backside of the body. Maybe you just keep that tension and you find that stretch just through the leg. Fabulous. Next inhale rolls us back up to that nice long spine. And we're going to make our transition over to hands and knees and go into our cat and cow from there. So circling it around any way that works best for you. When you get there, the knees are underneath the hips. The wrists are either underneath the shoulders or just a little bit out in front. They need that little bit less tension, a little bit less of an angle on the wrists. And then just go ahead right into that cat and cow. That inhale presses the belly towards the floor, lifts the hips and possibly the chin. And that exhale rounds the spine up towards the ceiling, tucks the chin in towards the chest and those hips underneath. Just a couple times in each direction here, getting that extra range of motion for the spine. When it's a little bit tougher to get from that seated position. And starting to really connect your breathing to those ranges of motion here, especially in this cat cow. It feels good. Allowing the lungs to expand as you inhale. And pressing all of that old air back out as you exhale. Let's go ahead and take 2 more nice deep breaths, twice more in each direction. And then we're going to find our final warm-up range of motion, which is just going to be that modified child's pose to cobra or baby cobra. So from here, you can just press those hips right back towards the heels, stretching through the shoulders, through the chest, and then just, again, with your breath or with a pace that feels good for you, pressing front to back. The hips come forward, the arms can stay long, or if it feels better, you can bend the elbows and bring it halfway down, just moving front to back, right like that, finding your pace, finding that other range of motion for the spine, getting ready to go. Fabulous. Let's go ahead twice more in each direction. when you finish that second one, just bringing it right back to hands and knees. That is where we are going to start our little bit of a flow today. We're going to start with 2 cat and cows. So when you get back to hands and knees, you can go right into that cat and cow, or you can just take a second to stabilize, find your breath. And from here, we're going to find those 2 cat and cows. So starting with that next inhale, dropping the belly towards the floor, lifting the hips and possibly the chin. Exhale, rounds the spine up towards the ceiling. Tucks underneath. One more time. Inhale, belly towards the floor. Exhale, rounds the spine up. On this next inhale, I want you to find that first bird dog. So right arm and left leg are going to lift as you inhale and extend out. But I want you to hold when you get out to the edge of that range of motion. So we're kind of finding our balance here. Our opposite arm and leg are extended. So that left hand and that right knee are planted nice and solid. I want you to think about activating your core and see if you can find a little bit of extra length from fingertips to toes. It's a little different than our bird dogs that have a range of motion in them. This is more of a static hold, but challenging that core just a little bit. Next exhale, brings that right hand and left knee down, round the spine up towards the ceiling. We're gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. So left arm and right leg lift this time with your inhale. And once again, we'll find that little hold. So activating the core, pull the belly button in towards the spine, find that little bit of extra length from fingertips to toes. Excellent. Next exhale, pulls it back down, rounds the spine up. Alrighty, we're gonna take it back to that child's pose. Press those hips back towards the heels. Press it forward to cobra. Hips down towards the mat. You can always find baby cobra. Let's take it to our downward facing dog. Curl those toes under. Press those hips up and back. Fabulous. Go ahead and float the shoulders out over the wrists to our high push-up plank position. We're going to find our nice slow chaturanga all the way down to the mat. So when the chest meets the mat, take the pressure out of those wrists. So nice and slow all the way down. Toes or knees is fabulous. And then lowering down, top of the feet meet the mat, chest meets the mat. Extend those arms out in front. We're going to find 2 X lifts on each side, alternating between. So again, opposites, right arm and left leg. We're going to lift right up here, finding that activation of the core of the glutes, and then lower down, left arm and right leg lift for our second side. And our exhale pulls us back down. One more time each side. Right arm and left leg, and back down. And then left arm and right leg. And then back down. From here, we're going to do 2 Supermans with a lat pull range of motion for our arms. So both the arms and legs are going to lift here. Then we're going to bend the elbows, pull them down by our sides, activate through the muscles in the back. So pull the shoulder blades together. Think as if you're doing a pull up on a bar, same range of motion. And then extend those arms back out and lower down. Same thing one more time. Same thing nice and slow and controlled. We're lifting up. We're pulling those elbows in towards our side, activating through the muscles in the back, pulling the shoulder blades together, a little hold, extend back out, and lower down. Fabulous work. From here, we're going to transition to our downward facing dog. So pulling those hands back in, kind of underneath or outside the chest, curling the toes under. You can always keep the knees down for the first part of this transition, and then press those hips up and back as we lift the knees. We're back in that downward facing dog. Alrighty, from here, we're going to find a 3-legged dog, 2 half mountain climbers, and then on our third time pressing that leg forward, we'll find our lunge. So right foot is going to go up and back, 3-legged dog. As we shift our shoulders over our wrists, we're going to pull the knee between the elbows, and then we're going to press up and back. Same thing one more time, exactly like that. Out, knee between the elbows, and then up and back. This time we're going to take it to our lunge. So that right leg is going to sweep forward. We're going to plant that right foot down. We've got that lunge position. From here, let's sweep those arms up. We're taking it to our crescent. Taking a moment here in this position, we've got a nice bend through our right knee, finding your balance by activating your core. Those left toes are down, but the heel is staying up. A nice long torso, nice long arms. Fabulous. From here, we're going to take it back down, fingertips towards the toes or surrounding those front toes. And then we're going to use this transition to take it to a really brief warrior 3. So transferring your weight onto your right foot. And then if you can, lifting that foot up and then maybe lifting those fingers an inch or 2. Maybe the toes stay down and you bring that torso to nice and long. Either way, we're looking at trying to find a little bit of balance on that right foot. Next exhale is going to take us back down to that crescent lunge. So I want you to plant those left toes. Those fingertips can come down. We're going to find one more time up into our crescent. So sweeping the arms up, finding the long torso, the long spine. Excellent. Next exhale folds us back forward. We're going to take that right foot back to meet the left, whether you go through three-legged dog or just straight to down dog. So right foot's going to go down and meet that left foot. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So stick with me here. Left leg, three-legged dog. We've got those two half mountain climbers. Knee between those elbows. And then up and back. One more time, just like that. Knee between those elbows. And then up and back. And then from there, we've got that lunge on the second side. So sweeping that left leg forward, planting it down, finding your balance. Right toes are down, right heel is up. Sweep your arms up. Nice bend through that left knee. That right leg as long as you can get it, as long as that hip will allow you to take it. Fabulous. Nice. From here, we're going to fold it forward and find that warrior three. Fingertips come back down towards the mat for that little bit of stability. We transfer our weight onto our left foot and then wherever you need to be. So again, toes can be down, fingers can be down. We can be all the way up in that warrior three. You could have hands at heart center. We could extend them out nice and long. Next exhale brings us back down to that crescent lunge. Right toes come down, left knee bends. Sweep those arms up. Nice work, you guys. Lots of transitioning here, lots of moving. That's okay. Fold it forward. That left foot's going to go back to meet the right, whether you just take it directly back or through your three-legged dog. Either option is fabulous. And then from here, we're going to drop it down to our child's pose. Knees wide, hips back towards the heels. Nice. All right, if it feels good, you can walk those hands over that right side. If not, just taking that moment, that little bit of rest with those hands down the center. And if you found that right side, go ahead and walk it through center over to the left. If you found that left side, go ahead and bring it back to center. We're back in that child's pose. Let's take it up to hands and knees. Those wrists come under those shoulders. Feel free to adjust those knees. If you take them a little wider in your child's pose than you do at hands and knees like I do. Let's find our two cat and cows. Here we go. Our inhale presses the belly towards the floor, lifts the hips and the chin. Our exhale rounds the spine up towards the ceiling. One more time, just like that. Inhale, belly towards the floor. Exhale towards the ceiling. On this next inhale, we've got our first side bird dog, right arm and left leg. Extend out nice and long. We've got that little bit of a hold here. So finding your balance, finding that kind of core activation, that core strength here, looking great, you guys. A little bit of extra length from fingertips to toes. Little hold here, excellent. Next exhale, plants that right hand and that left knee, rounds the spine up towards the ceiling. We're switching sides with our next inhale. Extending nice and long with that left arm and right leg. Finding that little bit of a hold, that little bit of balance here. Fabulous. Nice. Can you get a little bit more length, reach a little bit more in each direction? Exhale brings us down, rounds that spine up. Nice. Next, we're going to take it back to child's pose. Hips back towards the heels. We've got our cobra, pressing those hips forward. Downward facing dog. Curl the toes under, hips up and back. Which brings us out, high push-up, plank, chaturanga, and then we're gonna meet that chest to the mat. So lowering down toes or knees all the way to the mat. When you get there, take the pressure off the wrists, extend those arms out nice and long. We've got our 4 X lifts, 2 on each side. Right arm and left leg lift, and we lower. Left arm and right leg lift, and we lower. One more time each side. A lift, and a lower, and a lift, and a lower. All right, we've got those 2 Supermans with those lat pull down range of motion with the arms. So we're lifting both sides up, got that little float. We're pulling the elbows down towards the side, activating through the spine, little hold, extending back out nice and long, and then lowering back down one more time, just like that. We're gonna lift. We've got that lat pull range of motion. We extend back out, and we lower down. From here, we've got that downward facing dog. So pulling those hands in underneath, you can make this transition with the knees down, or you can pull them directly up. 3-legged dog to those 2 half mountain climbers. Right leg goes up and back. We're floating those shoulders over those wrists, right knee between the elbows, and then extend up and back. One more time, just like that. Bringing it out, and then up and back. And then we're gonna take it to that crescent lunge. So sweeping that right leg forward, plant it down, sweep the arms up, find your balance. Excellent, that nice bend in that right knee, that long left leg. Let's fold it part way forward, and then we're gonna find that warrior three. So whether you tap those fingers down for balance or keep them floating, as we transfer our weight to that right leg and find that little bit of a balance on our right leg. Again, that leg can be up, it can be down. Those fingertips can be down, they can be up. You can extend the arms long, or you can pull the hands to heart center. One more inhale. Exhale, pulls those left toes back down to the mat, and then we bring it back to our crescent lunge one final time on this side. Excellent. Go ahead and fold it forward. That right leg's gonna go back to meet the left. Downward facing dog, whether you transition through three-legged dog or directly to your down dog. Same thing, second side, here we go. Left leg, three-legged dog. 2 half mountain climbers, pulling the shoulders over the wrists, knee between the elbows. Inhale, extend up. That second one, and then on that third one, that left leg's gonna come forward, and we've got that crescent lunge positioning. From here, sweeping the arms up, finding your nice, long, strong core. Fabulous work, you guys. Looking good today, getting it moving. Alrighty, we're making that transition to our warrior three. So again, fingertips can come down. You can just use that little bit of leverage to press onto that left leg. Toes up, toes down, fingertips up, fingertips down, arms long, hands at center. A little balance on that left leg here. Give me one more big inhale. Exhale, sets those right toes down, finds that crescent momentum. Excellent work, you guys. We've got a little break after this. Go ahead, fold it forward. Left leg goes back to meet the right, whether it's through three-legged dog or directly to that down dog. And then we'll take it down to our child's pose. Knees wide, hips back towards the heels. Alrighty, little opportunity for a little recovery here. Feel free to grab a sip of your beverage, make any additional range of motion adjustments that you'd like to. Maybe sit it up and give those wrists a couple rolls. Maybe you've got a couple shoulder rolls. Maybe you're in that child's pose. Maybe walk those hands side to side. Taking your prerogative to make this part of the practice your own, make it work for you. Fabulous, wherever you made your way to, whether it was the sip of that beverage or you're just still hanging out in child's pose, taking about 2 more nice deep breaths. Alrighty, fabulous. We're gonna get back to it. Let's take it up to hands and knees. Those wrists are right under the shoulders, the knees are right under the hips. Here come those cat and cow. We've got two in each direction. When you finish that second one, after that exhale, we're going right into that bird dog hold. So right arm and left leg extend nice and long. A little bit of a hold here. If the wrist's bothering you, you can bring it down to that elbow and still find a very similar hold, but just a little less pressure on the wrist. I'm gonna be here for just a couple more moments. One more inhale. Can you get a little bit longer? And then our exhale pulls that right hand back down, that left knee back down, round the spine up with your next inhale. We're gonna extend long left arm and right leg. Again, it can be from the wrist, or you can bring that right elbow down and give that right wrist a little bit of a break. Fabulous. Give me one more inhale. Can you get a little bit longer? Exhale pulls that left hand and that right knee down, round the spine up. We're setting those hips back for that modified child's pose. We're pressing them forward for that cobra or baby cobra. Nice. All right, here comes down dog. Curl the toes under, hips up and back. To high push-up plank position, float the shoulders out over the wrists. Toes or knees, chaturanga lowers us all the way down to the mat. Extend those arms out nice and long when you get there. We've got those 4 X lifts, 2 on each side. Taking these kind of at your own pace, finding that little lift and lower, making sure you're activating through the glutes, through the spine, through the shoulders. Fabulous, fabulous work. When you finish those 4, we've got those 2 Supermans with our lat pull down range of motion with the arms. So lifting up in both directions, pulling the elbows down towards your side, finding that activation of the back, that little hold, and then extending back out nice and long and lowering down. Same thing once again. We lift, we pull, we hold, we activate, we extend back out nice and long, and then we lower down. Fabulous, fabulous work. This makes our transition to our downward facing dog once again. Hands come in right outside the chest, curling the toes under. Use the knees or don't use the knees. Either transition option is fabulous. Bringing it to that down dog, which takes us to our 3-legged dog to half mountain climbers. Right leg starts, here we go. We've got just 2 of those, keeping them nice and slow and controlled, pulling the belly button up towards the spine as you shift the shoulders out over the wrists. On that 3rd one, we're planting that right foot down, finding that lunge position, giving those wrists a little bit of a break. Let's take it up to our crescent. Fabulous. Taking a moment here, making sure you've got that nice bend in that right knee. Looking good, you guys. All right, here comes that warrior 3. Making the transition in the way that works best for you. So transferring our weight onto our right foot. Again, toes up, toes down, fingertips up, fingertips down. Just making sure that for that balance, you're keeping that core activated, not letting it relax. Looking good, you guys. One more inhale. Exhale, sets those left toes down, bends that right knee, sweep those arms up. Great work. All righty, excellent job. Well, let's fold it forward. Right foot goes back to meet the left, whether you transition through that 3-legged dog or just bring it that right back to meet the left in downward facing. Left leg, here we go. 3-legged dog to half mountain climber times 2. Nice and controlled here. Finding that core activation. On that 3rd one, we've got that lunge. When you make it to that lunge, finding your balance, sweeping it up. Excellent. That nice bend in that left knee, that long right leg, finding that kind of hip flexor stretch here as you lengthen it. Let's take it to our warrior 3, making that transition, bringing your weight onto your left foot. Maybe you lengthen that right leg up, maybe you lengthen those arms out. Making sure you keep breathing here, but keep that core activated. One more big inhale. Exhale, sets those right toes down, lengthens that torso up. Final one of those crescent lunges for this round. Fabulous work, fold it forward. Left foot goes back to meet the right. Downward facing dog. Child's pose, knees down wide, hips back towards the heels. And taking a moment and a couple of breaths here. Once again, a little briefer than last time, but if you need a couple wrist circles, or if you need to walk those hands side to side. Alrighty, fabulous. Let's go back to it. There we go, hands and knees. Cats and cows, we've got 2. Keeping it moving just like before. So a little bit of everything in this practice today. With your 3rd inhale, finding that hold, finding that right arm and that left leg extend. Again, that left hand can be down, but if the left wrist needs a break, you can bring it down to the elbow. Find your stable point, bring the elbow down. We've still got a ton of length from fingertips to toes. You're still working that balance. Fabulous. Give me one more inhale. Can you get a little longer? Exhale, sets that right hand and that left knee down, rounds the spine up with that next knee. the left arm and right leg. Same thing other side, same option with that elbow versus that wrist. Finding your balance, finding that nice strong core. You guys are doing great. Excellent. Next exhale, brings it down, rounds the spine up, and then we're sitting those hips back, child's pose. Press them forward for cobra, baby cobra. Downward facing dog. Toes curl under, hips up and back. All right, if you're joining us for that chaturanga, I want you to make this one super slow and controlled. So shoulders come over wrists, whether you're on the toes or the knees, keep the elbows close. Lower it down as slowly as you can, nice and controlled. When you hit the bottom, release those arms, release those wrists, take them out in front overhead. We've got those 4X lifts. Here we go. Take them at your own pace. When you finish that fourth one, we're going into those 2 Supermans with lat pull downs. Our inhale extends up. We pull the elbows towards our sides. We extend back out and we lower down. One more time like that if you're moving at the same pace as me. When you finish that out, we're taking it back to our downward facing dog. So bringing those hands right inside or right outside the chest, curling those toes under, pressing those hips up and back. Take just a moment here. Maybe pedal out those heels a little bit. Take a second, find a little stretch. All right, nice. Here comes that 3-legged dog to half mountain climber. Right foot up and back. Shoulders over wrists, nice and slow and controlled. Belly button in towards the spine, knee between those elbows. Same thing one more time. When you finish that second one, that third one, our right leg is gonna come forward. We're gonna plant that foot down. We've got that crescent. Finding your balance, nice and controlled, sweeping up. Excellent job, you guys. Nice, here comes that warrior 3. Fingertips can come down first, or you can just float it right out, wherever you need to be to find this balance pose and make it the most effective for you. So challenging that right leg, challenging your balance, even if you've got those 4 fingers or 2 fingers on the ground, even if you've got those toes on the ground, trying to do little lifts, little floats as you find it, keeping a gentle bend in that right knee. One more big inhale. Exhale, sets that left foot down. Let's take that crescent. A little bit more work for that right leg. Nice job, you guys. All right, time to switch sides. Fold it forward, plant those hands. Right foot back to meet the left. Left leg, 3-legged dog to half mountain climber, twice through. When you finish that second one on our third time through, we've got our crescent lunge. So taking that left leg forward, planting it down, finding your balance, sweeping the arms up. Excellent. We've got that nice bend in that left knee. You guys are doing great. Let's take it to our warrior 3. Transferring our weight onto that left foot. Finding that balance. Again, challenging your balance, whether those toes are just an inch or 2 off of the ground. Just taking a moment, trying to find a brief little balance on this second side. Maybe this side feels a little different than the first. That's okay. Give me one more big inhale. Exhale, sets those right toes down. That left knee bends. A little more challenge for that left leg. Sweep those arms up. We're almost there. A little break next. Nice. Fold it forward. Left foot goes back to meet the right. And knees down wide, hips back towards the heels. Excellent work, you guys. A little break here in that child's pose. We're going to finish off with not one more full time through because we've only got about 3 minutes left, but just a couple of little final ranges of motion. So taking a couple breaths. Again, if you need to sit, if you need to roll out those wrists or give yourself any kind of range of motion, feel free. And then we're going to just take it back to that child's pose to cobra that we kind of started this initial range of motion with. So whenever you're done with wherever you were, your sit or your range of motion, just bringing it back to that nice, easy front to back. Finding that little stretch. Excellent. From here, we're going to take it to a puppy. So bring it one more time forward to cobra. And then next time you bring it back, instead of pressing the hips all the way back, we're just going to bring the hips right up over the knees and then walk those hands out into our puppy pose. Pressing the chest down towards the floor, that nice shoulder stretch, that chest stretch. We've got one spinal twist in each direction. So right arm is going to lift and then thread underneath. Right shoulder is going to set down on the ground. We've just got one breath here. So big inhale when you reach the ground. Exhale. And then we'll come back through center. Same thing other side. Right arm's going to come out long. We're going to find that spinal twist with the left. Again, you can lift and then thread it underneath. Left shoulder meets the mat. Nice. Bring it back out to center. Then we're just going to walk it back to seated. So if you like being seated on those shins, you can keep it right here. If that's a little uncomfortable for you, feel free to set those hips to the side. We're going to finish off with 2 nice deep breaths. When you get there, that big inhale takes us out. Exhale circles us down and around. On this last one, those palms meet overhead. Inhale takes us out. And up. Palms meet right up overhead. Hands pull down to heart center. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday, great rest of your week. The light in me honors, the light in me bowing, as we say.